You know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of people using minority groups of people for their own personal gain. I'm sick of them hailing themselves as the savior of this community and using this community's struggles and pain as a way, look, I'm helping this community. Look, I'm good. I'm doing good. But yet on the sidelines, they're using, they're using the community as an scapegoat to go off and do wicked things, greedy things to another community. You get what I'm saying? Like, so all these politicians that are claiming, that they're trying to help the LGBTQ community, particularly the trans community, and, they pass a couple of good, laws that does protect the community, but then they go off and they hurt the majority. And that only hurts the community in the long run because the majority sees that, the way the majority will see the trans community is like, oh, you all are getting special privileges and rights now, and look, we're having to pay for it. You're shoving it down our throats and whatnot. And that's not what the transgender community wants. Most people in the community, they just want to live their lives how they see fit and be left alone. They're not hurting nobody. They're not over to get one on you, get one over on you. And that's what's happening right now. It's the view of the transgender community is being skewed and warped through fucking politicians, man. They're saying, oh, look at all the good I'm doing for the community, particularly Biden and them, and yeah, he's done some good for the community, but what he's done for the U.S. over a whole, he's hurting this country. And people are getting it misconstrued and saying, oh, it's all the trans community's fault, and that's not the case. That's not what's really going down. And on the other end of the spectrum, you have people who are making the trans community the enemy. I'm going to shut them down. I'm going to put out all these laws against the community. I'm going to ban transgender health care. I'm going to fix the country because I'm going to address the problem. And the problem is trans people and all this other shit. And that, of course, is the wrong fucking way to go about it. And it's like now all of a sudden, this past 15 years, the trans community has become a bright spotlight in media, news outlets, to say restrooms and this and that and the other, and transgender health care and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's getting out of hand. Yes, there are problems in the community that need to be addressed. There's basically civil rights problems in the community that need to be addressed. But what these news outlets are doing is they're damaging this community. They're hurting the community in the long run because they only post and talk about the quote unquote sad stories or people who are really not trans. They are just mentally ill. I might be get canceled for that one. Ooh, one time, I see, this Ben Shapiro, he likes to do react videos to TikToks and shit like that. And he had this one individual on there who clearly was just seeking out. I've mentioned this person before. I haven't mentioned their name, but just mentioned the description of this person before. But clearly they were on there for clout and things of that nature. Somebody's calling me. Can't answer that right now. But anyhow, clearly they were doing it for clout and attention seeking. And that's another thing too. People using the trans community as attention seeking to seek out clout and all this, that, and the other. Fucking quit it. Oh my God. That's so damn irritating. But anyways. Excuse me. I always got a damn cough this time of year. But anyhow, and it's, me personally, it's left me bewildered and confused on what to do about the situation. And I mean, what can I do to make an impact? I'm just one man, right? And I've been trying to seek out alternatives on what to do. And kind of falling flat on my face, to be honest. So, and this hence the reason why the content is slowed down on this channel. And I'm kind of doing other little content ventures, if you will, as well. But point being of this video is, I know there's a lot of members in the trans community that just want to live their lives on the not necessarily on the DL, but just like under the radar. They just, and you know, I get it. I totally get it. But I feel like we need now more than ever more people to step up. I know trans people in the community who are doctors and have, you know, high level careers and shit like that, and who aren't, quote unquote, doing this for clout, or a trans trender, if you will, you know. But they don't really come out and speak because, you know, one, they got their life together, and two, they don't want to upset the balance. But eventually, sooner or later, the way things are going, your balance in life will be upset. It will be disrupted. If people keep getting angrier and angrier at the community, you know, hell, there's even anger building amongst other people in the community. I've heard the stories of you know, the LGBTQ community wanting to cut out the T out of LGBT. Oh, you can't even say LGBTQ or something like that. They're wanting to cut out and completely separate from the transgender community because you know, some of the negativity and backlash that's going on towards the trans community now is starting to leak over into other, you know, communities. So, and that too, I view that as weakness. Like, come on, really? You're going to disown people in the community because you're, what happened to stand together makes us stronger, you know? People in the group are stronger than by themselves. What happened to that, you know? We need more of that, more so than ever, you know? But nowadays, you just see more and more divide. You know, it's like the community is being torn apart within and on the outside. It's like you got all these things against you. Misinformation about the community. Most people, when you tell them about the trans community nowadays, they just think, oh, one of those crazy liberals that are like screaming and they have multicolored hair and they go by they, them, sees, there, them, yada, yada, yada. Those people. No. Those are non-binary individuals. No, I'm talking about people that you probably would never even know were in transition because they're, quote unquote, living a normal life, you know? That is the majority of the trans community. There's so many people I know that are, quote unquote, not out there. Not that there's anything wrong with being an out there kind of person, but there is something wrong with it if you're doing it under the intentions of getting clout, and you're using the community to get yourself clout, like these trans trenders. There's people who are in transition because they think it's trendy, you know, and then they, you know, detransition and try to claim that, oh, I was misled by the community, which probably does happen. There are some people who probably do get misled by the community, but I'd say more often than not, it's people not wanting to own up to their own mistakes and, not want to own up to the fact that they were doing things for the wrong reasons. You know, it's definitely a Rubik's Cube of problems. Hell, I think solving a Rubik's Cube would be a lot easier. Actually, it is a lot easier. So, because there's just so much that goes into this, and it's kind of bewildering and hard to find a place to start on this. You know, because I feel like a lot of issues, it's like, in some ways, the community is like the very tip of the needle, right? But you got to have the whole length of the needle itself in order to have the tip, right? And I feel like a lot of the issues that are boiling down to the trans community is really, the issues are deep rooted into society as a whole, right? And the trans community just happens to be at the very tip of all the issues that are really backlogged and built up behind the community. You know, civil rights issues, issues with orientation, issues with race, racism, sexism. You know, all these issues, I feel like, and this is probably another reason why the trans community is a hot topic, because it's literally, if you look at it like this, the community can almost be seen as the light that is being shined upon the problems of society. And some people view it as, this is why we need to address all these issues, these civil rights issues, racism, so on and so forth. And other people's view, it's a problem. People don't like problems. You know, it's kind of like you have all these dirty dishes, but you don't want to wash it, so you just say, fuck it, you go out and buy paper plates. That's how people do the problems in society. You go, just get rid of the problem. How do you get rid of the problem? Deny the fact the problem exists. There's no such thing as transgenderism. There's no such thing as, sexism and classism and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't exist. Deny the problem. And that's another reason why I feel like people get frustrated and angry towards the trans community, because it's like, you can't deny people that actually exist. They're here. They're people, just like me and you. They're out there. They're walking around. They're at the fucking grocery store. And it's like, people don't think deeply and think about why does this person just being here bother me? Why does it bother me? And if you sit down and think, like, all the issues these people are facing are really issues that they're getting all the issues. Like, you might only have a part of the issues. Let's say you're a black female business owner. Yeah, you have some issues to deal with. Like, and I'm not going to sit here and debate about to what degree does racism exist. The only thing I'm going to say is racism still exists today. Come on, it still does. To what degree? That's where the debate is at. But we're not getting into that. I'm just here just trying to bring to light and try to get people thinking, right? So if you're a black female business owner, you have the issues of sexism you could be dealing with, and the issues of racism that you're dealing with. And then on top of that, you have your everyday problems and solutions you have to come with owning a business. And let's throw on top of it, let's say you're a brand new business owner. You just open up your business, and let's say you're baking cookies and pies and shit like that, right? So, could it be easier to be a white female business owner? I'd say more than likely, yes. To what degree? Could it be 2%, 5%, 10%, 20%? That's where the debate is at, but we're not here debating that. Now, let's say you have a black transgender business owner in the same business. Well, that just brings forth even more, all these other issues that your cisgender counterpart deals with, but then also the issues of orientation, issues of, sexism right there, because this person used to be male, they're in transition to female. So you got that whole debacle and that whole gray area of like, when does a man still be a man and when does a female still be a female? When does it all coagulate? And just, it's the things that make people who don't like thinking think, and it pisses them off because you're making them think. The fact that you're a person here on this earth and you exist makes people think. People don't like to think, you know what I mean? Like, if somebody tells you you have to read a book for 2 hours, or you can go out in the yard, you have to read a book you don't want to read. It's very technical writing for 2 hours, or you go out in the fucking yard and do yard work for 5 hours. You'd probably choose the yard work. Because at least you can at least take a breather and enjoy the fresh air, the sunlight, blah, blah, blah. Versus reading a book which makes you think. Thinking, no. I'm a little hopped up on caffeine too, so. All these problems, I feel like, is what a big problem the transgender community has to deal with, because y'all inadvertently, not on purpose, but inadvertently, are bringing light to all the problems that society is having. See, if society had addressed all of its social problems, transgender people really wouldn't be an issue for the majority of society. And that's what I've come to realize, And, I'm a little bit slower than some, so, But, and I think, too, we just need more people to just sit down and think. This is why I preach about individuality. Be an individual and actually think on things. Don't have a herd mentality. It's much easier to have a herd mentality. You can sit there and just go with the flow with everyone. What everyone is telling you, this is what's right, this is what's wrong. Okay, good. I don't have to think. Cool. You know what I mean? But when you think on things, you develop your own sense of self and your own individual perspective. Man, I tell you, you can see a lot of things for what they really are, but sometimes it has its own set of problems. It's harder for you to assimilate. And assimilate basically just means, giving in to certain norms and societal norms. Like, that's the issue I'm having with the current job that I'm at now. It's not the issue of working, it's just the culture itself, and I refuse to assimilate, and I'm gonna have issues with that. So, some places I've worked for in the past I didn't really have issues with, but here I feel like it's gonna be an issue. But another topic, another story, another day. But back to what I'm saying. The whole point of this video is point and simple. People need to think about, the community's not out to get you. It's just, unfortunately, the community shines light on the majority of societal problems, because of everything that's involved with this community. And that's where your issues really lie. Not with the people themselves. It's the issues of people using other communities as scapegoats, people using other communities as a way to make themselves look good, whether it's trans, whether it's, a racial minority, like, people do shit for clout. Like, like you see nowadays, people travel to these different, third world countries, and they go, oh, look, I'm hanging out with this native tribe in, Zimbabwe or wherever. Look what I'm doing. And they're just doing it to make themselves look good. It disgusts me. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And you're only hurting that community by, you only post the negatives of a certain community, and you're painting a picture for the outside world to think, oh, well, that's not necessarily the case. We need to bring light to any and all things, negative and positive, so we can have a truly balanced and quote unquote more correct perspective on a particular situation, community, whatever it may be. I'll use the trans community again, like in movies. Like, okay, it's kind of a guilty pleasure, but one of my favorite movies is The Crying Game, right? But that movie is somewhat incorrect, Yes, do a lot of maybe trans people have certain lives that kind of, not necessarily that their significant other gets killed in a weird war that's going on between Britain and Ireland, but like, is everyone's lives who is trans sad and kind of depressing, and they have to put up with certain things that normal people wouldn't? Some, yes, but not all. You know what I mean? And it's like, it paints a picture of the community that is false. Well, not 100% false, that's partially false and only partially true, things of that nature. But I'm coming up on 20 minutes here. I've been ranting and raving, so I'm trying to get regular with the posting, but I feel as if I'm trying to get my base set up, and I've been angry and frustrated with a lot of different things, as you've seen in some of my videos. And I don't want to make statements and have conversations when I'm not in the best frame of mind that is open to said conversation. And that's another problem, too. I keep pointing out problems. People posting and talking about things when they are not in the correct frame of mind, per se. And that's my issue, is I'm not in the correct frame of mind. Because I want to post an angry post like, this community, this, that, and the other. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to post when I'm level-headed and, serene, stoic, if you will, right? So that's why it's been kind of a little few far in between. So bear with me. I'm still trying to do good. I'm still trying to fight the good fight, so to speak. But yes, thank you so much for watching. If you watch the whole video, I like to do these little tests in my email, in the about section. Send me an email. Don't put it in the comments. Send me an email. You know what? Send me an email about you. Tell me about your day. Tell me something positive. And if you have something negative going on in your life, tell me something negative too. Maybe we can have a conversation. I need to get back into having conversation with people again. Tell me something positive, and if you have something negative, you can tell me about it too. But please include something positive about your life. Email liberumcuritate, I do believe, liberumcuritate13 at Outlook. But it's in the about section of the YouTube channel. Please send me an email. Would love to be having conversations with you all again. Anyhow, thank you for watching. Peace.